the idea is not having too much slides. I just put eight slides to give the context. This idea has been discussed in eceee industrial efficiency last year. We have a small working group with the eceee board on it. I have some colleagues from Sweden and Switzerland. They have made a great job making interviews in 5 countries of Europe. And basically today I'm working on such platform in Switzerland. The idea is really how can we accelerate, how can we boost the best practices, and yes, no waste, no time to waste, reinventing the wheel every new project. So I just go through quickly. If there are some questions, we can discuss. Yes, we are not on tracks. There are profitable energy efficiency and sufficiency potential. And really the idea is how can we support concrete development, new action, and upscale solutions, and helping people to be more involved, to be more active in the energy efficiency and sufficiency side. So yes, we look what it was not a full benchmark, European benchmark, but we look in into some networks in Germany, in France, in Sweden, and in Switzerland. And yes, we have some good conversation. And to summarize them, it's firstly, knowledge sharing is not the same as dissemination of information. We find a lot of knowledge of information platform with data, etc. But basically, the idea here is really to facilitate new knowledge, new ability to new practices for professionals. And what we have discovered also is there is also, except eceee, there is a few collaboration between practitioner, university, professional. There are some silos, and sometimes it's good to break silos. Traditional formats prevent active participation. It's bottom up. It's not. Yes, maybe not very, as I do now to present slide is good, but it's maybe not the best way to learn, to share knowledge. Sometimes there is a lack of funding for knowledge management into organization, and also for network management, because it doesn't work for itself. Yes, okay, I'm not gonna read it, but yes, which is something it's interesting is when we go into something deep relation between peer-to-peers, between peers in peer-to-peer collaboration, sometimes it's more easier to discuss of what works and what didn't work. Sometimes it's more interesting to share what didn't work and why it didn't work. It's more, yes, it prevents to make the same mistakes, and but to be able to do that, it needs some confidence, and so something more than just data sharing, etc. And yes, demand-driven activities are more resource intensive. It's a real job to do it, but the impacts are much greater. So the idea is basically to build on the experience of people like Elena Lindqvist in Sweden. She works with communities between public communities, but also on the smart communities in Europe, and they have quite interesting approach based on really how facilitate the contact in between people who has the same question, the same interest, but sometimes someone is a little bit has done a little bit more than the other one. So it's good to facilitate interaction between these peers. So there is a paper I can share. I think I've shared the link with the paper where you can find some more information of the methodology. And now, basically where we are today, yes, the paper is here on Industrial Efficiency 2020. I have created a concept note, and now in Summer Study 2021, we are going to start a Swiss pilot. We are going to discuss also a European pilot with Sensei project. And the idea is really to take some time, to take some idea okay, is it really a good idea to have this platform, this knowledge sharing platform at European level? And if yes, let's try to do it. And let's launch it maybe in 2 years. It takes time. We don't want to make it too hurry in emergency. And yes, we need new way of collaboration. And we think there is really a place maybe for eceee, for all this knowledge sharing during this conference, to have something in between to facilitate new practice. And yes, the international the efficiency community, as we call it, it seems that there's something to do, but we don't know exactly how to go to the next step. So the idea of this informal session is to discuss with you. Have you any inspiring examples elsewhere that we don't have, that we don't know today? Have you any competences, willingness to go further on this? And yes, the next steps. Where can we find some money to help, to allow people to work on this? And yes, this is maybe the point that I will be happy to discuss with you. But first, maybe just if anybody can make a short presentation of himself or herself. For myself, I am Cedric, and I work in Geneva in the energy utility, local energy utility, and I'm also a board member of eceee. And yes, you can switch on your camera and then quickly introduce yourself.
Cedric, will you invite us in turn, because we'll all be in different combinations on the screen, so we won't know who should go next.
Okay, so please, Joanne, if you want to start.
Sure. Hi, I'm Joanne Wade. I'm eceee Vice President and your graffiti editor this year. In my day job, I work in the UK for the Association for Decentralised Energy. And Cedric and I and a few other people on this call have been working for a couple of years on energy sufficiency. So that's one of my main interests.
Mm-hmm. Rod?
Well, I'm Rod Jansen. I edit Energy in Demand, and which is a sponsor of the summer study, I should say. I'm just like you, Cedric and Joanne. I'm on the board as well. I mean, we've had some discussions on the board, in board meetings, about your proposal or your idea. So this is not completely new. I mean, I've worked in every area of energy efficiency possible. So I mean, networking is how I live, you know. So the more we can actually mine our knowledge and take advantage of it, okay. And I mean, there's been a lot of knowledge in the past that we've almost forgotten about, you know. So I think the more we can create a platform like this. The problem I have, and this is a concern, is because how do we sustain it? I mean, Joanne talked about the work that she's done on sufficiency. We've got a website on sufficiency, but again, how do we sustain it? You know, I mean, and eceee is, you know, we're not like Americans. We don't get a lot of money here in Europe for these types of things. You know, I mean, these associations in Washington don't have those problems. I mean, I'm sure they work hard, but it's a different philosophy. And so we've got to find some creative ways of being able to sustain some of these concepts.
Thank you. I can see John Rowlott, sorry for the pronunciation, Rowlott.
That's good enough, it's fine. Answer to most things. Yes, so I'm a PhD researcher at De Montfort University, but I've spent 30 years working with domestic customers in energy efficiency, billing, system designs, insulation, whatever, you know. I'm a chartered building service engineer by trade. So, and my main area of interest is the owner-occupier sector. I'm looking into, you know, policy and engagement issues, specifically how to engage the owner-occupier sort of, you know, elephant in the room, basically, because in the UK, they are 64% of the marketplace. And so if we're going to make a decent transition with housing, we need to, you know, find ways to pass on wisdom and engage people there. So that's what I'm, you know, working towards and looking forward to finding out about.
Thank you. And we stay in UK, I think, with Sarah.
Hi, Cedric.
Hi.
Yep, in the UK. Yeah, my questions, I work at the Environmental Change Institute at Oxford on demand and the introduction of smart tech and how that's working from the point of view of the regular non-expert customer. And I'm very interested in the role of tacit knowledge. And it was nice you brought that in. And I wondered, transfer of tacit knowledge, so often it's specific to a particular situation, a particular place, you know, it's hands-on type knowledge, it's knowledge about context, it's quite specialized stuff. It gets transferred at a number of different levels, some of them very non-expert, or, you know, in the usual sense, and some highly expert. There are all these different sort of layers of tacit knowledge. So I guess I'm most interested in that aspect of what you're saying, whether you can get a good network going that will operate for that really very important type of knowledge transfer, but quite hard to define often. Yeah.
Yes. I have to apologize because Elena is not able to, she's a little bit sick today. I hope it's not COVID, but as this conversation is recorded, yes, I hope she can answer to this question of implicit knowledge, which is a bit vague, but yes, something very powerful too. I agree. And we have Guillaume Behem from IVU.
Yes, I'm Guillaume Behem. Hi. I am a researcher at the Institute for Housing and the Environment in Darmstadt, Germany. And I'm working in the topics of implementation of renewable energies in buildings for renovation and new buildings, as well as life cycle assessments of buildings. And the topic of energy sufficiency is of high interest for me as well. And as you can maybe see, I come originally from France, and I'm working in Germany, and I'm particularly interested into knowledge exchange between countries. And yeah, that's why I'm here, and I'm eager to know more about these possibilities.
Thank you. And Marina Tapouzi, I saw you in a session this morning, I think. Happy to see you again.
Hello, my name is Marina Tapouzi. I'm based in the UK as well at Environmental Change Institute in Oxford University, and also part of CREDS, who is sponsor as well in the eceee. And I'm working on governance and policy, and my focus is retrofit. And the questions that I'm looking is that, as previous people said, that there is a lot of knowledge out there. Is one thing how we say the knowledge, how we convey, what is the storytelling of this knowledge, and the other thing is how we map the different data sources. We start in CREDS now, at the beginning of June, we start a new project that it's looking databases and methods and trying to map, but only in a very small sector on buildings. So I'm very much interested, one, how many sources there are out there, and how we make them available to people, how they map them, so in one platform someone can see what is the interest and find what they are looking for.
Wow, excellent. Very happy to organize this informal session. And Miguel Nasula, can you present yourself and maybe switch on your camera if it's possible?
Yeah.
Miguel. Yes, we can see you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Miguel Nasula. I'm a PhD student at Linnaeus University in Sweden. My main research focus is on energy efficiency of the current building stock in the Swedish context. And of course, I'm very interested into this knowledge questions everybody mentioned before. And how to transfer the knowledge between countries, and how to address even later how to adapt for the specific context in the local context. Because we see a lot of different methods and tools being developed, for example, in the Netherlands, but that are very smart, but on the other side, in the Swedish context, because of having such rigid regulation, they come out very difficult to be integrated.
Yes, yes, the regulation is not sometimes easy to be partners on some aspect and to be competitors on others. So especially in the knowledge sharing, sometimes it's some tricky challenges are appearing. That's true.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Thank
and
you.
Therese Kreitz.
Yes, I'm here.
Therese, you are here. Okay, we can hear you.
But they say the camera is not launched properly, so I don't know why it's not working.
Okay.
So I'm Therese Kreitz from ADEME, the French Energy Agency for Energy Transition, and we are also sponsor of eceee since ages. I'm the coordinator from Top 10 since the very beginning, and therefore I know that working together is very, very important. We share all the data, and I think that makes Top 10 Europe so successful, but it will stop when the Commission now will stop funding. And at the DAM, I'm responsible for white goods and for energy labeling and eco-design. And I'm particularly interested in getting consumers on the energy efficiency board without feeling guilty. You know, I think that you always blame and shame. You have to less. And if you do more, you are bad boy or bad girl. So really how to convince them to be interested in, and the same for retailers, because they for me are very important between consumers and manufacturers, and how to convince them to put energy efficiency a little bit more higher on the list for the arguments for selling. But of course, I understand completely that it's not the main issue, but because they want to make money and we have to deal with it. Yes, and I'm in the Label 2020 project, and which it's dealing with the new energy label. And there I saw it's really, retailers are very, very complicated. And especially I'm the other way around. I'm German, but I'm living in France. And the first thing that the French people will say, it's not enough and the government has to do something, and always complaining. And this is, yeah, how it goes, all this.
Yes, the same old story. Yamina, you are also in France, or are you in Switzerland? Or both? Yamina, we can't hear you. Okay, we just lose Yamina. So I switch to Jean-Sébastien, c'est un plaisir. Ah, Yamina is here.
Yeah.
Okay, Yamina, we can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, good afternoon. Now I am based in Paris, but I work for University of Lausanne until the end of July. So I am very delighted actually to see that there is a project looking to this, trying to build this platform. At the time I was at the Commission, I did design, I worked on the concept note and an early design of the energy efficiency platform, the European energy efficiency platform. And some of the objectives of this platform in the original project were very similar to what I heard you presenting, Cedric. But unfortunately, we faced several constraints that are related to the Commission. I think this platform should not have been hosted inside the Commission. The Commission should have provided the resources, the human resources, because you need to think about how to maintain this kind of platforms, etc. And I thought that it could be done only if public organization could finance that for long term. This is one of the points that I learned. So I thought from this perspective, the Commission should have provided the resources, the human resources, or at least paying for that. However, hosting the platform within the Commission web services was, from my perspective, a mistake, because we had so many constraints that are related to security issues, etc., broad security issues related to the Commission, which I think they are justified, but not for this kind of platforms. And as a result, from a dynamic platform that we conceived originally with the IT people, we ended with very static platform that is not updated, that people do not look at as a reference at all. So it did not become the reference that was, while it was designed to be a reference. This is my experience on this. And I think it was based on this, let's call it like that, it's a failed experience, that the Commission, for example, the Energy Poverty Observatory, is hosted differently. Actually, the Commission proceeded differently for the Energy Poverty Observatory. However, even this observatory is not dynamic. And I think with today IT tools, we could have something more dynamic, actually. And I have been involved in other platforms that are dynamic, but they are in the dark web. They are not in the web that we use usually. So it's very difficult to have something like that in institutional platform using tools from the dark web. Over to you.
I agree. Yes, I agree with you. There is some momentum between the IT possibilities, the climate crisis, and all this eceee knowledge somewhere. So it's, yes, there is sort of momentum. It's good to, I totally agree with you. We continue, we say welcome to the new people who are coming now. It's really cool. I hope we can give the talk to everyone. So I can give the, maybe Jean-Sébastien, can you take the mic for a minute? Jean-Sébastien maybe is not available. So I have Miguel Nasula.
Yes, but I presented myself.
Ah, sorry. I just a little bit mixed. So
No
we have Niels Borg, who is just jumping the conference, and just if you can present yourself in 2 or 3 words, in case someone didn't know you. You are muted. Yes. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm Niels Borg. I'm the executive director of eceee. I am not going to be so active because I will have to go in and check a few things on the administration of the event as well that I'm waiting for. But I want to listen to see how the discussion goes. So it's great that so many people have signed in. Great.
Thank you, Niels. Thank you for being here. And I'm happy to welcome also Elena. Just jump in, and she's not in super shape, but happy to. Elena is a co-author of this paper, and she's got the knowledge, she's got the skills to manage this knowledge sharing things. So, Elena, in 2 words, the floor. Yes.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction, Cedric, and it's been a pleasure developing these ideas together with you. And yeah, just recovering from my not COVID, luckily, if you were wondering what that referred to. But yeah, I'm a specialist in processes and designs for knowledge sharing and facilitating such partnerships between organizations on climate and climate mitigation, energy efficiency, smart grids, and similar issues. So that's my take on this. And we've been working on this idea for a year, actually. I think it's already a year now.
That's true. Yes. Thank you, Elena. Jean-Sébastien can speak.
I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, it's okay. Perfect, Jean-Sébastien.
Well, I'm super happy to see you. That's so great. I would have preferred to meet you for real, of course. But well, so for those who don't know me, I work for IECP, the Institute for European Energy and Climate Policy. I've been attending the eceee summer study since 2005, so I'm not that senior compared to Rod, but I try to compete. Let's say, and Cedric knows that yeah, knowledge sharing, that's one of my topic of focus. I work also on evaluation, which is one tool to let's say to support knowledge sharing. In a few words, I would say that one problem, I think maybe that was mentioned by others, but one of the problems is that we all work for projects that have a short life. Short, depending on how you see it, but 2 to 3 years, and we never know what happens after, and it's very difficult to have a real continuation from one project to the other, etc., because you are not completely master of your topic. You depend on the call for project, etc., etc. So, for example, what Therese has built with Top 10, that's quite unique. The same with Odyssey. So it seems that ADEM is quite good to develop projects that have a long lifetime. So maybe we can learn from that. And that makes that definitely a lot is lost over time, and that's really a pity. But on the same time, a lot is produced as well, and not everything is good. So that's another maybe issue. I would say that currently we are overwhelmed with information. So the problem is not that we have too little information, but we have too many, and it's very difficult to find, even on simple questions, to find good quality information. That's not so easy. So maybe producing some good synthesis on key issues that are maybe, I understand what you said, and I mean, Yamina, that it would be good to have something super dynamic, etc. But I think also having some, let's say, state of the art, not too long, and that are updated, I don't know, like every 3 or 4 years on key topics, that would already be, I mean, that would avoid us to have to repeat the same thing over and over first, so that we will sometimes win, sometimes with our contacts. And the second point, I think that's nice to have platform, but making connection is as important. So that's, I guess that's what you have seen when you make your review. If you look at ATE, for example, in France, they are not producing so many contents in terms of report, or their web platform does not, they have contents, but not that much, but they do organize regional networks, and they have a very, very strong networks all over France, which is super powerful, and that's how they manage to be the coordinator, for example, for the working group of the White Certificate Scheme. And that's now the main policy in France, and that's a very good way also to update the knowledge on technical aspect of energy efficiency actions, for example. So that's, you might not see that as a knowledge sharing platform, but this working group, I think that's a pity that also are nothing from France is there, but involved in that. But maybe Therese can say, I don't know if you agree with that, but the working group of the White Certificate Scheme, there are definitely some way to share knowledge as well. And I stop here.
Thank you. I like your idea of the fundamentals of energy efficiency and sufficiency. So it's very important. Yes. I think Kirsten has to present herself and maybe jump into the conversation.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Nice to see you, new and old faces, as Sebastian wrote. I have recently joined the Climate Secretariat in Copenhagen and am in charge of establishing a positive energy district in the northern harbor of Copenhagen. One of the things we are looking to do at the Climate Secretariat is to make a new vision for the period after 2025, because we have had a climate plan reaching until 2025, and now we are preparing for both making a vision and then the first of several roadmaps. And what we are looking at is to include third tier consumption, that is consumption of goods in our monitoring and also in our target setting. And this is a new complexity to a topic that's already very complex for consumers and everyone to understand. I mean, we're still struggling to understand the kilowatt hours, and now we add the complexity of a new topic where even the specialists argue about what is up and down and what are the certainties of it being 5 or 6. And so this complexity and how to also involve several or more stakeholders, different stakeholders and citizens in formulating these targets, but also in monitoring the progress. That is a huge new task, I think. And then also the topic of sufficiency is cropping up, and how do we actually prepare the storytelling about this so that we prepare the ground for acceptance of introducing this topic. Here, I think it's very much a question of finding a face that represents the future, or more faces. How can I see myself and my family? How are we living? Are we doing without? I mean, Greta Thunberg is fine. She's a radical, perhaps at a positive way, but she's a radical, and not everybody can be so extreme, or at least not fast enough. So how can a normal family with a normal life, who cannot move out in the countryside, how can they act? How can we help transform our cities? That is very much the issue of how do we create images that make people relate and care about this for us. Then one of the tasks we are also working with is how within a big city to create more cooperation between the different municipal tasks, such as unemployment or city renewal projects, which is as a social angle more than an energy efficiency angle or sustainability angle. How do we create a dialogue and awareness so that climate is always on the top or always introduced with all the other departments? So I think this discussion about knowledge and how to share this knowledge and make sure it's updated, but also not too complex, is very, very important. I missed your introduction, so I don't know whether we are actually talking about a data platform or we are talking about knowledge sharing. But I think what could be helpful is both what Sebastian mentioned, this good synthesis on different topics. They should be brief, they should be very clear, very short-winded in their formulation of sentences and everything, so it's very accessible, not just to us, but also to the politicians, so that we we could use it as input for the things we're writing to the politicians. But also maybe the option of having an expert panel, a volunteer where I, as a municipal city planner, can bounce off ideas face to face with people instead of having to chew my way through a lot of written reports or Google my life again and again and again. So this sense of quality, how do I access quality and experience very easy? That is very valuable, would be very valuable to us. That was very long, sorry.
That's very interesting too. So thank you, Kirsten. And I'm happy also to welcome Irvine, a new board member. Happy to see so many board members and so many interested people around this conversation. So please, can you introduce yourself in several words, Irvine?
Yeah, well, give me a break, please. Once someone is ringing at the door, just this very moment. Sorry for that.
No problem. Okay, but I think everyone has the opportunity to say something about himself or herself. Did I miss someone? Because I don't have the full the full screen. Please don't hesitate to go into the conversation. Okay. So to answer briefly, this is really for the moment just an idea, and we are happy to see that yes, it creates some interest, and we think there is a good momentum to go for this idea. I don't know exactly how to proceed. Now we are going to have the record of this conversation, so I can send you all the slides, and but the idea is really how can we make a next step? Can we imagine that in 2 years we have such platform, and if we come a little bit back, first we need funds to make it. So do you know any European call or any potential sponsor interested to put money on it so we can work a little bit more professionally on it? If there are some inputs, it's a good time to share it. And firstly, we have Irvine, which is back. So in 2 words, can you give us some hints?
Well, thank you, Irvine Cornelis, also a board member for some years, and I'm happy that I can join here in this discussion. And well, last Friday there was a interesting dialogue day which was organized by the grid operator in Flanders, and they did a survey on the knowledge of the energy transition amongst the public. It is somewhat connected with the introduction of smart meters, but well, the context is the energy transition, and what they found out is that actually the concept of energy transition is not well understood in the wide public. And also when I saw the questions they asked, there was also quite a lot of attention for energy sufficiency, and it was actually the first time that I did see energy sufficiency popping up so prominently in a energy debate in Flanders. So it was really very interesting discussion, and I also hope that I can involve this distribution grid operator more also in eceee and also connect to the energy sufficiency community. And this is something I believe that, well, this is an issue the Flemish grid operators are confronted with, but I see Cedric knocking, not only the Flemish ones. So I can assume that this could be already a topic for knowledge sharing, well, in this case here amongst grid operators, how to do with that, and how to inform the public and also make it happen. So dependent on the context and the national, the local, regional context, those actors, and focusing specifically to those actors have specific tasks, and I can assume that they would be eager also to learn from the best practices from other countries, and well, make it happen. So that's why I'm very much interested in participating in the discussion. And well, hello to all of you, and it's a pleasure to see you. For some, it's the first encounter, and for others, well, it's a nice encounter after such a long while.
Thank you. So, Joanne, you want to add something?
Cedric, I think Elena was first. She had her hand up a long time before me.
Sorry, I don't see the hand. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Go on, yeah,
So
she's
please.
waving like this.
Rachel, I can't see the hand, the raising hand. So if you can maybe help me on this. Okay. So please.
Thank you, Joanne and Cedric. Yeah, I wanted to just emphasize a few things from our concept development. Firstly, what we had in mind was not this sort of another platform to gather a lot of data. So the interactive element is really key to this idea that we have, and to actually have projects that are arranged and organized through this platform. So of course there will be sort of some sort of data being gathered, for example, the eceee or all the library information from all the papers and all that kind of stuff, and other things that members of this platform could add. But I think the main driving idea behind this is really about the knowledge sharing between people in sort of knowledge sharing processes, and I would really like to emphasize this point about learning for actually driving change, because we really have enough information. Well, we need more research and all of that, of course, but we have so much information. What we need is knowledge and this processing of information into our heads so that we can actually do things. So this tacit or hidden knowledge that sits in our experience, that we can kind of make explicit through dialogue with each other, structured dialogue on key topics with a goal in mind. We talk about this to develop something or to solve a problem. That is really at the heart of this platform idea. So it's not just adding more papers on the big pile of information that we already have. So and on the topic of key stakeholders in this platform, that what we had in mind could be to work together with other or kind of organizations around Europe that have or sort of networks that work on different topics, and do projects with them. So because it might be difficult to kind of get the momentum going with individual participants and to organize all that. So I just wanted to mention that. And sorry for missing the beginning of, so you might have mentioned this already, Cedric, but
thank you. Thank you for this precision, very interesting precision. And now it's just about the non-explicit knowledge. There was a nice thought of, I don't remember now, but yes, we will find in the record. And it was Sarah, yes. Joanne, it's your turn.
Thanks, Cedric. So a couple of things. I mean, one, very firmly to agree with what Helena's just said about I was thinking as we started talking this afternoon, during our sufficiency project, I think I got more knowledge and understanding from sitting around the table at a workshop than from reading anything. It was the discussion that was important. But thinking specifically, Cedric, around your question about funding, I wonder whether we need to be thinking about a patchwork. I know it's a nightmare to have a patchwork, but I think, certainly in the UK, we have research groups who have networking funds. We have a lot of research groups have a key performance indicator, which is around their international engagement. And you can start to see that maybe that's, each of us in our own countries maybe needs to look for, is there something like that we could bring together to start to support this? I don't know, but it feels like we're all being asked to network more. We're all being asked to be more international. So maybe there's something there. And then the second thing that occurred to me that I think we really need to think about, and I don't know the answer, I'm just posing the question, what are we learning in this kind of environment, this conference, doing this different way, that might help us to achieve what we're trying to achieve in a very resource constrained world? And I mean resources in terms of money, but also obviously resources in terms of the planet, but to get that interaction in a less resource intensive way, in all sorts of ways.
The idea of a patchwork sounds maybe interesting. In Switzerland, I know some people are ready to pay to build such concept. And yes, if Switzerland can pay a little piece of the budget, maybe the fund that you mentioned in UK can also, and then we can have an amount. Yes, it's a good idea. Yes, why not? Cool. Other good ideas like this? We don't want to go too far in the discussion. We have 10 minutes left, and we're just in the middle of this summer study, so plenty of slides to see tomorrow. And I appreciate the comments also into the chat.
Cedric, I'm trying to raise hand, but I don't. For some reason, I seem to have kind of admin. No, but I can't raise a hand, so you haven't missed anything. I think what Joanne says about there are two things on funding. I think that it's really important that the funding is matching the ambition, or the ambition is matching the funding. Also, it's a problem with some funds, but maybe it can be done that you really have to specify a work package for different things. But I think it's also important. I say many of the charities, they have additional funds, so they have kind of a reserve for years when they have little money, so they don't have to scale down quickly. They can still keep, adjust to lower funding. And I think the other thing is important. Maybe this is not part of the platform itself, but I agree with Joanne that you learn a lot from the workshops and from listening to people. But there also needs to be a place to share evidence-based knowledge and information, because a lot of people are really looking for, you say, yeah, it all sounds good, but where's the evidence? And I think one thing is important. Maybe others do this and generate this part, but it's important to synthesize it, so to make it accessible. That is one of the challenges, and I know we discussed this before, but that's really one thing, and to make that clear. But I think a number of patchworks can be a way forward where you create this knowledge and then you kind of feed it into the platform in some sort of systematic fashion. Yeah,
thank you. There's this evidence-based knowledge. Jean-Sébastien also explained this interest on it. Share knowledge to ask question. I think you should know. Yes.
May I jump in quickly?
Yeah, sure.
In the work you've done with Elena, did you develop some kind of charter or process to select and review contents, let's say, not to say information?
Elena,
because that's also one challenge, how to agree on the criteria. What is a good knowledge? I don't know how to call it actually. How to do, because if you, I think that was probably one of the problem maybe mentioned by Yamina about the Energy Poverty Observatory. When you let people submit good practices, you get plenty of them, which does not really solve your issue, because at the end you still have to sort among what everybody has submitted. So how do you how you manage that the balance between voluntary contribution, which is super helpful because if you only rely on what you can find, that's always limited. But at the same time, if you are also opening to voluntary contribution, there should be some kind of filters. So how to do that?
Yes, I think in eceee we are keen to, we can manage this type of question with the peer-to-peer reviewed paper and things like that. But would you add something, Elena, on this special question?
Thanks. It's a very good question, and it also kind of relates back to what I said earlier about the type of interaction that we foresee here. What I have in mind, at least, and what I'm a specialist in doing is arranging and organizing this type of projects where you go in around a topic, around a challenge or something, and you agree among what is the focus question. Those who are in the room or in the process, they agree on what is the challenge, you explore it, and along the way you add both your experience and data, what you have from your experiences, and it's kind of up to everybody, and you can also involve academic experts to do that filtering within the process as well. But it's kind of, it's an exploratory process that I think is key to this. And of course, you can have this sort of more data, like what is good knowledge and bad knowledge, or bad examples. That's a little bit a different thing, but you can have that as part of the platform as well. But that's not really my specialty to judge what's good and how to filter. But I think within the review processes, as Cedric mentioned, that could be handled that way, I guess.
Cedric, can I jump in on this point?
Yes.
Yeah, because we had the same question when I worked on this platform for the Commission. And at that time, the agreement was to have a review committee for the external submissions, because we had EU Commission submissions and external submissions. And the review committee should have been composed of not only Commission staff, but also experts, well-known experts in the field. But in practice, this has never been put in place. So I don't know how heavy to put something like that in place. Over to you.
Yes, all these questions I think we have to deal with, and that's the idea of this study that we try to organize. This opportunity study is to collect all these questions, to suggest some answers, and then maybe also to try some pilots in national or international level. So yes, we have 3 minutes left. So what I suggest is, if somebody has to say something now quickly, it's possible, with pleasure. And in another hand, we can also continue the discussion. I think we have the record, we have the contact. We are going to send you the slides. And yes, by mail, it's a possibility to continue this exchange. And possibly the board eceee will also discuss a little bit more after the summer study.
Cedric, can I also
yes?
can I interrupt and just say, if anybody hasn't got time to say something right now but wants to type it in the chat, we will be saving the chat. So if you don't get a chance to speak, just add it into the chat, please.
Yes, thanks. Yes, don't hesitate. I'm sure the chat will keep open till 10 minutes, something like that. But I see Irvine with the blue skies, and maybe it's time for a pétanque, or I don't know, as the old time in Presqu'île de Gien. Wow, that's cool to see it. So what I want to, yes, somebody want to add something? Elena, you want to conclude? No, it's okay for today. I open, you conclude. Yes.
From my part, yeah, great to have this little conversation with you and get your insights. And I look forward to continuing this and having a more detailed discussion later on, hopefully. So great to see you all.
So, thank you. So, it's time for a beer, time for a glass of water, and I hope to see you tomorrow all in full of energy, and really look forward to continue this this project, because I think it's really time to achieve something like that. Thank you very much for all these inputs, for all these good ideas, for all these questions. Yes, I'm sure there's something's gonna happen on this field soon. So, thank you very much, and see you soon.